Hey guys, it's Cole. I'm back. We have a great 10-minute show lined up for you guys today. I have some people here in the studio with me, Abru and Felicia. So they may be joining us here and there as I make my points. Today's show, the fear of vulnerability. Ugh, makes me sick thinking about it. But it's something that we have to do. You know, being over 30 in this dating world is what it is. And we have to accept the fact that this is where we are. So as we are here, how do we navigate that? How do we be honest with ourselves and vulnerable with ourselves first to say, okay, I'm over 30. I do not have what society says that I should have. I am not doing the things that society says that I should have already done. And now I've got to meet someone else who is also in this boat and be willing to be open about that and how that's affected me as a young woman, in my case, but for you, maybe as a young male, or an older gentleman or an older female. It sucks. It makes my stomach turn thinking about the idea of even having to open myself up that way, but I know that it is a necessary evil. It's not even evil, y'all. It is exactly how life was designed to be. We were put on this earth to interact with people, and we choose not to. We were put on this earth to do life with people, and we choose not to. And maybe it's because we don't trust. Maybe something in our past happened where we were vulnerable, and someone took advantage of that vulnerability. But that does not mean that we stop. That does not mean that we take the opportunity to take the easy way out. It just means that happened, and it sucked. And we got to keep going. We've got to keep navigating this thing called life, or we will never get to where we really want to be, and that is to not be single anymore. For me personally, when I think about being vulnerable and dating somebody, it makes my hands sweat. I get hot and I get all flushed, and I wonder, like, okay, what if I say the wrong thing? I don't think that you can. There's no way to do or say the wrong thing because people are going to accept you for exactly who you are or not. So what are we worried about, honestly? Are we worried that we're going to jump the gun and try to bully these men and these women into a relationship? Because that's what it seems like to me. Because I feel like that's what we're doing. We stay on these men. We're like, you didn't call me, and I called you 10 minutes ago, and you didn't even call me back. That man is working. It is 9 a.m. You know he's at work. Why are you stressing this man on his job or this lady on her job? Be realistic about expectations. Set some real expectations. Vulnerable is not sitting here saying, I want to be married tomorrow. That's not vulnerability. That's bullying. That's me saying, I want you to marry me in a year and a half, or we're not going to be together. He just met you. You just met her. That's not vulnerability at all. Being vulnerable is saying, listen, this is where I'm at. I'm 30 and I hate it. I hate the fact that I'm 30 and I hate the fact that I'm not where I want to be. My goal was this, this, and this. And I'm not there relationally. Or I did the things on my job to get to where I want to be, and I missed out on this other part. And now I'm seeing the error of my ways. That's vulnerability. That's honesty. That's a real conversation that somebody can relate to. So when we think about being vulnerable, I don't want it to be the scary thing for anybody. It really should just be being honest, having honest conversation. And y'all, if they are not receptive to that, stop being so afraid to let them go. Like, we live in this state of panic sometimes. I know I do. Where I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to give it 5 months. And if in 5 months he not doing what I want him to do, then I'm going to leave. And then we don't leave because of time served at this point. Or because we don't think that there's anybody else. But last week, we talked about the universe giving us all of these opportunities to meet people. So take them. You will find Mr. Aldi. You will find Mr. Home Depot. You will find Mr. Movies. Whatever you're at, whatever you're doing, somebody else will come. So let's get out of that mindset of scarcity. It is not a scarce place. This world is huge. And let's get into a mindset of just literally being honest. Not in a sense of you're going to do what I want you to do, because that's a whole nother individual and you can't make anybody do what you want them to do. And just be honest with that person. Be open with that person about where you are. And I don't even think you go to where you want to go at first, because that can be a little bit intimidating. Just be honest about where you are. Start there and see what they come back with. If they're equally as open and honest, then good. Keep growing that. Keep growing that relationship. Keep dating that person. Keep going to have those conversations. Keep digging and diving, but don't push, y'all. It should not be an interrogation of a date. Like 1 or 2 hard questions, and then just keep it light and keep it fun. And keep going. Like, keep going on these dates. Don't be afraid to date more than one. Date Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it can be somebody different every single time. Because the key word here is dating. Not sleeping with. Not inviting over. None of those things. And I know that can get expensive, so get creative. Go to the park. Walk around the mall. Go get some ice cream. It does not have to be this big to do. It is a date. It is an event. Take an hour out of your day. Get on the phone. FaceTime. I love virtual dates. Y'all, I will get on a FaceTime call and we both turn on Max, HBO, whatever, and we start the movie at the same time. And we're going to, pause it as we see fit to chit chat about what's going on, giggle, ha ha, hee hee. Get you a glass of wine if that's what you want to do. Get some popcorn. Whatever it is you want to do. Make it fun. Make it cute. Virtual date night can be fun. I've done like painting and sip virtually. And it didn't cost us that much money. It took a trip to the dollar store. So get creative. That should never be an excuse for anybody to not date. Anybody. Okay. All right, that's my soapbox on that. But let's talk about the pressures to settle. Because as we are vulnerable, we know, as we really start to check ourselves and check the people around us, we know that society has said that you are over 30, you should have a husband or a wife. You should have multiple kids. You should have a dog, a white picket fence, and probably a luxury foreign car. I have none of those things. Not one of those things. I mean, my car foreign, but it's not luxury. Sorry, y'all, I laugh at myself. I drive a Mazda, so like it's foreign. It is foreign, but it's not luxury. It's nice though, and it's nice for me and what I need, and I enjoy that car. So if I'm honest with myself, why do I care what society has said? My life is at my pace. And I know that there are so many pressures to settle. And these two in the room are married. So can y'all give us some, because y'all got married later on in life than what society says we should get married. So like, what was that like?
Absolutely. I can completely relate to 30 plus and single, because I was 30 plus and single. Yes, I was. So I'm coming from a married perspective now, but I went through the same 20s, and I call them the dry 20s, because that's what it felt like. Strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. And you'd have to understand who I am as a woman. I plan things strategically. I had plans for myself to get married at 22. I missed that. So I had to move through my mid-20s, still being single, and then embrace it in my late 20s, and then to go into the 30s. So it was very difficult. But just like Cole says, I love the topic on vulnerability, is because this is what makes you you. And if the person can even tolerate your vulnerability in the dating stage, they won't last in the married stage. It's only going to get worse. So I think you can rule out some things. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable. The fear of rejection stops a lot of us. And let's be honest, it goes beyond relationships. It exists in the workplace, because people have that inert need to connect with other people. But, going back to, how me and my husband got on the pace, it was a lot of very honest conversations up front. Look, this happened to me in another relationship. This sucked. I will never deal with that. And he can kind of tell you, he named some stuff in his past relationships that he was never going to deal with that. And it was almost like a negotiation, a state of negotiation. And it was fun. Like you said, the date should be fun. There's a lot of women that are out there just like, oh, what is a date to me? Well, we got to go to Capitol Grill, and he got to drop $300 or $400 on me. And that's your idea of a date. Like, come on, the audience that we're dealing with, you guys are millennials. You get creative, like you said, about how not to spend money. So why should you turn that off when it comes to a date and have that expectation to be on that man that's also a millennial and is trying to save money? Mm-hmm. So let's get creative and just be open and make it fun. It's got to be a learning process, but it's also got to be fun, because if it's not fun, who wants to keep dating you? If it's an interrogation, I don't want to date you.
Me either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And hey, you said it all. I ain't got nothing to add. You said everything. But yes, we to support what you said. We had a lot of upfront conversation, mm-hmm. and it was stuff that I'm not going to deal with. Stuff that you said you weren't going to deal with. Mm-hmm. And if we want to be together, we don't cross those lines. Mm-hmm. We don't cross those lines, period. Because, I respect who she is. She respect who I am. And I think that's what keeps us in a healthy space.
So, but while you were dating, were there pressures to, well, what are y'all waiting on? Go ahead and get married. What are y'all waiting on?
Yeah.
There was that pressure. And I had to be confessed, because we talked about being honest. So I'll be vulnerable right now. I was at a state of, I just didn't want to waste time with my dating period. So I probably put some stressors in there for me and my husband's relationship that was like, hey, when we get married, you know what I'm saying? I'm 30, I'm 32. What's going on? Or because at that time I felt the pressure of having a kid. So I know you guys, millennials, take a different take on having kids. But my thing was I got to get married, because if I'm going to pop out another one, it's got to happen now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be 40 with a kid. So I put some of those pressures on it, and he managed me in that very well.
Yeah. So we met in February. She was ready to get married in March.
Oh my God!
Third day.
If I'm honest, before I met you, I was ready to get married.
We're supposed to be going down the aisle, but it's all good.
Yeah. So I think that just speaks to, we can't allow society to influence our relationships. I talked to one of my friends today at the coffee shop, and she was like, people will put themselves in your business so quickly because you are the age that you are, and they will make up whatever they've got to make up, especially if it's going to be a blended family situation. His baby mama is this, that, and the third, and you hadn't even met that lady. Mm-hmm. So if you are that person that believes everything you hear, or you've got a village and you're trying to take the advice of your village, and that's what they're saying, it's hard. It's really hard to navigate that, especially when the pressure is coming from the people that are closest to you. So my challenge to you all in that is to stay grounded. Figure out what it is that you want, how you want this relationship to go. Make a list. Don't share it. Don't share it with anybody. Check it off. Pray on it. If that's what your faith is like, pray on it. And make sure that everything that you are trying to do is in line. And once you get there, if it's not right, leave. And if it is right, then just keep dating and keep having fun. Don't worry about the pressures of society, because let's be honest. Let's be vulnerable for a second. We already missed the deadline. The deadline's over. So what are we rushing for at this point? We've waited this long. Let's get it right. All right, y'all, that's my show. It was a little over 10 minutes, but I'll see y'all next week.